Boom Studios, who makes all those wonderful Power Ranger comic books, just got sold to another company. Let's talk about it. Do you know what time it is? Welcome to the Legacy of Nerd. My name is Daniel, and yes, you heard that correctly. Boom Studios, who currently has the Power Rangers comic book license, is being sold to another company called Penguin Random House. What does that mean for Power Rangers comic books? I don't think it's what people want to hear. I see a path, and I don't think it's good for Boom. But that doesn't mean we're not going to get Power Ranger comic books here in the future. And I want to start by saying, I've talked to people. I don't know anything for sure. I'm sure we're going to find out more at San Diego Comic-Con, but there's a lot of hints that we've been getting as an audience about what is going to happen. I'm going to kind of put those together for you. So, like I said, Boom Studios got bought by Penguin Random House. What is Penguin Random House? So they are like a distributor company for comic books, and I know they do Marvel and some other brands as well. The best way to put it as far as this whole deal is, like, imagine if like DoorDash opened a restaurant, and that is what is happening. So we have a comic book distributor now owning a comic book company. What they're going to do with it, I'm not entirely sure. We already know that the owner of Boom Studios, his last day was on Wednesday, July 10th. I know there's a couple of other people up in the hierarchy that are going to be leaving, that are not transitioning with the sale. There's a new person that's going to be in charge of Boom. What Penguin Random House is actually saying is that Boom will continue to have creative control and basically do what they want, but they're still going to report to the head honcho at Penguin Random House. So there's a new regime in there at Boom Studios. Now, a lot of you guys want to know, how does this affect Power Rangers? Well, we got an announcement, what is it, like May, that the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers book was going to end. So it was going to end with issue 122 that was coming here in July. And then the team itself the whole storyline that has been going on since issue 1, since back like 2015-ish, I think, was going to end with Darkest Hour #1. And that was to be the conclusion of the entire story. And that was going to be it. Like, a lot of the authors and writers and pencilers and inkers and artists were saying goodbye. Like, they were actually making their big goodbyes. And a lot of people are saying, like, oh, maybe they're moving to a different team. Maybe they're moving to Zeo. Maybe they're moving to this. And what we're been kind of getting is that's probably not going to happen. Then some other things had happened. We found out that there was going to be a one-shot called Power Rangers Infinity, and it was going to have like this ragtag team of kind of like misfit Rangers. But it's a one-shot, and it's coming out in August. And then we found out that Power Rangers was going to have a crossover with Usagi. I can't remember the whole character's name, but there was going a crossover coming, and that's coming out in September. So we got all these books kind of like, there's one shots. The main series is ending in August. It doesn't really look like they're really planning past September. And then the sale happened, and people are like, well, that doesn't really look good for Power Rangers. And other people were like, well, we still got Ranger Academy. Well, Ranger Academy is ending. We just got a solicitation last month about issue 9. The arc of this book was ending. And that was even like put in more confirmation when the writer of Ranger Academy actually put out a tweet saying this book was only intended for 12 issues. Like, it is not going beyond that. So I think that 12th issue would come out maybe December-ish, if I sound right. 9 will come out August, 10 September, 11 October, maybe 12 November, December. So that would be it for that as well. So there's no Ranger Academy going into 2025 as far as we know. And, well, actually, we know because the writer said there's not going to be a Ranger Academy going into 2025. Are they going to launch another book? It doesn't look like it. My only thing that makes me weird about it is that when we talked to Matt Hotson, he had plans for a sequel to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers The Return. He even made some tweets that they're going to make some big announcement at San Diego Comic-Con, which is coming up in 2 weeks now. And I just don't know where that fits in. So my guess is that Boom Studios is probably no longer going to have the Power Ranger license. And what I think is expiring. And we see with Hasbro, there a lot of the things that Saban had put into place, they are no longer working with, right? So like, even just looking at the show, Hasbro being in New Zealand with Power Rangers, like they shut down that whole production company in New Zealand, right? Now the comic books here, other licenses that have been put out with Saban under Power Rangers, they're just like they're non-existent. They're moving on with that. The Nickelodeon deal, that's not happening. They're clearly on Netflix. That's their goal, is to be more Netflix intertwined, like Hasbro likes to be. So a lot of these deals that Saban put into place are not in place anymore under Hasbro. And as we guys know, is with the show ending and Hasbro's call that they had a month or two ago, they're really interested in licensing out Power Rangers and having other people make it, which kind of makes the Boom Studios thing a little bit confusing. But then again, if they're saying like Boom Studios is no longer being owned by the people that we originally licensed it to, I can see them moving away from Boom as well. Now, I said there might be Power Ranger comic books in the future. And what that might be is Skybound. Hasbro works really closely with Skybound comics. I believe they do the Transformers and the G.I. Joe. Don't quote me. I don't really know much about Skybound. I don't know if it's a subsidiary of Hasbro or they're just the company, the go-to for comic books for Hasbro. So don't quote me. Please educate me on the comments. I'm sure a lot of people will call me out for it. But that's where their comic books are for their properties that they have right now with like Transformers and G.I. Joe. Will Power Rangers move over to there? It's a possibility. It's a really big possibility. In fact, I've had people tell me that Skybound is a much more attractive comic book company for IPs because they have a great company over there. They have great artists, they have great writers, they have great people that are in charge of the company, and they actually bring in quite a bit of profit and awards as well. So that could be a possibility of where the Power Ranger will be in comic books. But as far as Boom Studio goes, I don't think it's going to happen any further. What I can see happening with Boom Studios is whatever is currently being worked on will be allowed to finish and be allowed to be released. So I know a lot of people are worried about like the Kickstarter and the return. Like I'm not worried about that at all. Like I think we're going to get all those things from Kickstarter. Those are going to be all distributed and taken out to the people that, put in the donation, not the donations, but, bought the tiers and stuff like that. Like me, myself, I have no concerns about that. The question is this the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers The Return sequel? If that is currently being worked on, is that something that is going to come out? And I imagine if that is something that's going to come out, it's going to have to come out really quickly because everything seems to be changing really fast. And that's what's going on right now. So I know there's a lot. It's just with Power Rangers right now, there's just a lot of endings and closures coming up. We don't really have a new path that we want to see in sight, and I think that's hard for a lot of fans. And I know a lot of fans are probably going to put down this video because I'm trying not to be negative. I'm trying to like look at the facts in front of me, but it's going to come off as negative and people are going to be upset with me because they don't want these things to end, which I get. I don't want any of these things to end either, but it's just the reality of where Hasbro is with their properties right now, especially Power Rangers and their IP. They clearly have a different path for it, and we can't see what it is right now. And just like everybody else, I want to see what that path is. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you kind of think it's ending? Do you think you'll go to Skybound? Do you think they're just going to take a break? I really don't see them moving on to Zeo, guys. Like I really don't see it. I could be totally wrong. I just think as soon as they go to Zeo, they're going to lose a lot of readers. And I think they even lost a lot of readers once like Shattered Grid ended and they moved on to the Thunderzords and moved away from the classic that we know. So let me know in the comments what you guys think, and y'all know what time it is. It's morphin' time.